Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with My Hero Academia. Last time on My Hero Academia, we had time to pick some names, where everyone in Class 1A was they picked a code name. Some honorable mentions being Deku ended up going with Deku, surprise, surprise. Uraraka ended up going with Uravity. Bakugo tried King Explosion Murder, but Midnight didn't like that. So we tried Lord Explosion Murder, and Midnight still didn't like that. We didn't really get what his name will end up being. And Ida was supposed to take the name Ingenium from his brother, who is now paralyzed, but he doesn't think he's quite ready for the name Ingenium. Meanwhile, everyone in Class UA is also now going to be interning with pro heroes. Uraraka is going with some brawler hero, I don't remember his name. Ida is going to Hosu Tokyo because he wants to find Hero Killer Stain. And Midoriya is actually going with Gran Torino, the sworn friend of All Might's predecessor of One for All. So yeah, that'll all be interesting. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see where we are going from here. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. This is also where I say, if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of My Hero Academia, it is unfortunately not in this video due to copyright reasons. So what you gotta do is head down in the description or to the pinned comment on this video. There'll be a link there, you click it, and that will take you to my reaction. Sorry, I just bumped All Might. That will take you to my reaction where, the footage is in the corner, it's all edited and nice and good. And you can watch that and hopefully have a good time. And when you're done with that, you can pop right back over here for the discussion on this episode of My Hero Academia. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. Okay, so this is new. So he needs the power on literally all the time. That's, interesting. So then, now, does that mean all the time? Or does that mean when he's in combat, he needs to summon that power? Summon the power and then just keep it on while he's fighting. I don't know. It could be one or the other. I guess we'll have to find out. Okay, what a great episode. Day one, basically, of our internship training, which is only lasting 1 week with everyone, which is pretty interesting, too. I like that. Okay. And actually... Whew, boy. Okay. So, let's go ahead and get into the notes. The first thing I wrote down was Gran Torino. So Gran Torino, I was confused about this, but now I understand more. So Gran Torino was All Might's master, and he was All Might's master, but he was not the holder of One for All. Okay. I finally got that cleared up, because when we first saw him at the beginning of the season, I thought that was All Might's predecessor, but it's not. It's the sworn friend specifically, and he does say, that All Might was basically given to the care of Gran Torino because his predecessor had just passed away, which that sucks. That really sucks. Because, I kind of wonder, with All Might being this great and powerful hero, it's like, okay, well, why hasn't anyone ever talked about his predecessors? Which now we can confirm All Might is the 8th holder of One for All, and Midoriya is now the 9th, which is interesting. So why is it that none of them have ever, they're not in the history books, and they're never discussed in relation to All Might. Maybe it's just that we haven't had an opportunity. I mean, that is dragging up the past, And, All Might is the current hero, but still, I have no idea. No idea. But yeah, so Gran Torino, and it's also different, the training that he had with All Might. For All Might, because he had the body, and he had easier control over One for All from the beginning, it meant that his training was different from the training that Midoriya is getting now. Which, they do also bring up a good point that it's like, oh, well, All Might's not training Midoriya right. Technically, All Might is not training Midoriya at all. I don't think he's ever trained him other than the combat training and, saying like, okay, contain, try to visualize the egg in the microwave from exploding, So that's it, which is interesting. So, and Darby wants in. I'll go get him. One sec. Okay, so All Might's training was different because he pretty much understood One for All right off the bat, whereas Midoriya didn't, which is definitely interesting. But now, from what I can tell, it seems like now Midoriya is at that point where All Might started his training. He is at the point now, he understands how to actually use One for All properly. So that's interesting. And so yeah, I wrote down Midoriya is the 9th holder, and there's something's going on about the 7th, which we don't know. We don't really know who the 7th is or what happened to him. Now we know that he died basically before he could properly train All Might. So yeah, why is that? Why is that? And it's also interesting that, he says, what did he say? It was something along the lines of, it was something about it was the shackle, What exactly was it? Let me get the subtitles on. Yeah, you newbie.
I watched the UA Sports Festival on television. The way you used your power was unthinkable. Reckless. He's not training you well. He may be the symbol of peace and the #1 hero, but All Might's a total novice when it comes to teaching.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what a blunder he is in the classroom.
Now, shall we get started, you bunch of newbies?
Yeah, now you understand All Might a bit more.
And he has two sides, sometimes playing dumb. This really is his teacher.
Huh.
I can't stand to watch you use your quirk that way, so I suppose I'll have to teach you.
Yeah.
Hurry and get your costume on.
I'm ready. Teach me everything.
Okay, let me skip ahead a bit.
Instructions?
Dear Izukumi,
In the cavalry battle and the tournament showed that you're adjusting to the quirk.
Yeah.
You understand its fundamentals, but your admiration for all
Admiration.
and loyalty to him are shackles on you.
Shackles? But how?
It's true that you need to get stronger and quickly. Time waits for no man. Real villains don't care if you've reached your full potential yet, and you think One for All is more special than it really is.
Yeah.
Then, what should I do?
Okay, so it's more... Midoriya thinks it's more special than it really is. Which makes sense. Honestly, I guess he treats it... He puts it on such a high pedestal because he puts All Might on such a high pedestal. And that actually weighs him down. It's like, you can't realistically get to the top of that pedestal yet. But you need to figure out how, like, basically what Midoriya is doing is he's jumping up, briefly touching the top of that pedestal and falling back down. And that shatters his bones. What he needs to do is slowly climb up. And the more he can climb, the more he has control over it, basically. That's what he needs to do. Which is interesting. So yeah, that it is a shackle. Because it's like, okay, what you think One for All is more special than it really is. What is it? It's an extension of his body. And he needs to realize that, Because that's the thing. He never, I suppose that's the next thing, is he never treats it as his quirk. you know? Midoriya never treats it as his quirk. He treats it as All Might's quirk. It's not even All Might's quirk. All Might technically doesn't have... Well, okay, All Might does have a quirk. It's One for All. But that's it. It wasn't his original quirk, but it is his quirk. One for All is also Midoriya's quirk, but he just views it as All Might's quirk. So, that's the interesting thing. I wrote down Shigaraki. We got the meeting between Hero Killer Stain and Tomura Shigaraki. And so, okay, they said, like, you know, Shigaraki just wants to, you know, kill just to cause chaos and destruction, but it's not fine-tuned, basically. And, you know, even Stain says that. It's like, you guys, your whole motivation is childish, you know? So, it's almost, basically in this, Shigaraki is now going to intern with Hero Killer Stain. There is definitely a parallel there, that Shigaraki now needs to learn how to become this great villain from Stain. So that is very interesting. I did not expect that we would go there, but that makes total sense. Especially because they have been building on that. They have said multiple times, like, you know, Shigaraki is a child. He's kind of like our students, you know, even though he's older. He is a lot like the students at UA. And, you know, it's like them, he might have someone guiding him. And now he's going to intern, basically, with a villain. So that's interesting. I wrote down Best Genist. It's nice to see Best Genist again. We haven't really... I mean, we got a mention of him back in Season 1, but we haven't really seen him. And it's interesting that Bakugo was the one that was going to intern with him. But in 1 week, Best Genist is going to basically remold Bakugo into a proper hero. I'd love to see that. I would really love to see that. I will be curious to see how that's going to work out for Best Genist and Bakugo. And it's also interesting they said that Best Genist is the number 4 hero. He's the number 4 hero. So, okay, we're missing something then. Because All Might is number 1, Endeavor is number 2. We don't know who number 3 is now. Best Genist is number 4, and we don't have number 5. So, I want to be introduced to number 3 and number 5 on our top 5 best heroes, you know? What if number 3 is like, I don't know, Midnight or someone? It's like, oh, why is she popular? Just because she's so beautiful. Yeah, maybe it's that. Okay, I also wrote down 1 week. So everyone is interning for 1 week. I'm going to quickly go through what everyone's was. Okay, so we got Kirishima and Tetsu with Fourth Kind, which is interesting. He's going to help the two of them with their manners. He's the chivalrous hero. I like that. Let's see. We got a bit of Uraraka with Gunhead. The two of them do not go together, honestly, like when you look at the two of them, but it's interesting. It's definitely interesting seeing the two of them together. Darby's making noises out there. Nah, it's alright. Okay, so, anyway. So yeah, seeing Uraraka with Gunhead is very interesting. And I do like, they say it's like, oh, he's the battle hero, he's a brawler, he's Gunhead and stuff. And it's like, he's a nice guy. He's politely explaining to her everything about being a hero, which is pretty cool. So yeah. Who else? Oh yeah, so
Heroes are allowed to have side jobs. There were a lot of arguments about this when the world of crows was first established. But
the snake hero, Uabami, and she has taken on Momo, and I don't remember the orange hair girl's name. I don't know, but I did like her from the tournament. So the two of them have been taken on by the snake hero, and oh, poor Momo though.
Turn
this down.
For example, if you're a pro. Besides, she was kind enough
student.
An unworthy student. Man, Momo is really down on herself after the tournament.
So I'll take every lesson she has to give.
She's really into this.
Kendo. Right, Kendo.
But isn't
Gotcha.
there anything else we can do while you film this commercial or whatever?
Do you know why I chose to recruit you two?
Huh.
Thoughts?
Well,
Yeah, why?
It must be because you saw such heroic potential in us.
Of course I did. But there's another reason.
Yeah.
You're both very cute young ladies.
That is funny. That is like, oh, it's because the two of them are cute. That's why. That is funny. So yeah, so the two of them are going with the snake hero. Todoroki is going with Endeavor. It'll be interesting to see. You know, he said like, let's go. I'm gonna teach you how to be a hero. It's like, I hope you learn these lessons too, young man. You know, it's like, I hope he does this because so far he has not embodied, you know, a hero. So I'll be interested to see him actually do some hero work. And then, yeah. And then we had Midoriya with Gran Torino, obviously. Oh, and they also showed, yeah, okay. So they had Earphone Jack with, I think it was Death Arms, wasn't that his name? And Mineta ended up going with Mount Lady, which... oh, yeah, Jiro.
You know what's a useful skill? No.
Oh. I kind of thought... Because she was looking at Mina during the tournament. I kind of thought Mina would go with her. But Mineta ended up going with Mount Lady. I can see why he did, and he says, like, this is not the role-playing I thought this would be. So, yeah, and then I think Sue was just with the Navy, which is funny on its own. Sue just went with the Navy. It's like, oh, alright. But yeah. So, back to Midoriya and Gran Torino. The two of them still working, and Midoriya trying to figure out how to use only 5% of his power. 5% of One For All instead of going to the straight 100. And so he's trying to learn it, you know, charge up the legs, jump, charge up the hands, hit, jump, and he just can't even like do it once. He just goes and he face plants basically. And he just does that pretty much all night. Until finally it's the pastries. The pastries, because it was the pastries. Because, you know, what he has always tried to do is put an entire plate in there. But he can't do that. He needs to put in one pastry, basically.
Whoa, Gran Torino! I see now. The frozen pastry in my hand is me.
Huh.
It's not. Are you okay?
I don't mean literally. I'm not really a dessert. But I get it.
Yeah.
Up until now, I've just been summoning One For All. Only when I really need it. In the places I need it.
Yeah.
Like flipping on some kind of switch. But if I do that, my reaction time gets slower and slower with every move.
Right.
Which means I shouldn't be flipping it.
Ugh.
I just have to leave the power on the whole time.
The whole time.
Imagining the energy that used to be focused in one place, spreading throughout my entire body.
Yeah.
Didn't take him long to figure that out.
Yeah. And it's nice to see, you know, the whole thing going nuts.
Surging through all of me, continuously. The 5% that I can use.
Yeah.
Visualizing a pastry in the microwave is pretty boring, kid. You sure you're okay?
All my set that I got my egg already. All is fine with me.
Yeah.
So tell me, can you move in this state?
I don't know for sure.
Wanna give it a try?
Yes. Let's do this.
Okay, so he now has One For All coursing through his entire body instead of just one part of him. And with that, it's not 100% all in his hand. You know, it's 5% now in his hand. The 100 spread throughout his entire body, which is interesting. I do like that. Now, I cannot imagine that he keeps this up constantly, But I'm sure when he starts a battle, that's when it's basically the same thing that All Might does when he flexes, he gets into his All Might state, and so he lets One for All surge through his body to get back to where he was. It's kind of what, it's basically what Midoriya is doing. Midoriya is flexing, basically. He needs to flex and keep that flex up the entire battle. Instead of just being like, huh, and then attacking, just being like, huh. No, he needs to constantly have that at the ready and then use it rather than, So, I think that makes sense. I think what I just said makes sense. So, yeah. Midoriya has now figured out a new way to use One for All, a way that hopefully just does not break him, Because that was the thing, was when Gran Torino first said, all right, hit me with a powerful smash. I want to see where you are. It's like, but Recovery Girl's not here, and even then she wouldn't heal him, So, although they still did do it, he just didn't get a successful hit, so it didn't and he did imagine the egg in the microwave, so it wouldn't have shattered his arm too. So now he's gone from the egg in the microwave to the pastry in the microwave. Isn't that great? But yeah, that was a really great episode. I really enjoyed that, and I'm curious to see where we are going next time. So, with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of My Hero Academia reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.